The Hash It Out Show is brought to you by Moretto Home Solutions, Bayou Audio and Video, Hot Works on the North Shore, JFK Martial Arts in Mandeville and Covington, Lil Dizzy's Cafe, The Green Law Firm, personal injury attorney, Kaylin Parker of Magnolia Wealth Strategies, Moe's Pizza, Lance's AC and Heating, CC's Children Blocks, The Pierre Family in Lafayette, Louisiana, Drums,
Hands up, hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Move, move, move. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning.
Hey, what's going on, folks? I'm VK Jones, and welcome to the Hash It Out Show right here on JBU Sports Guy and all social media platforms. We are live for you on this Wednesday night. We appreciate you joining us. Like, tag, share, subscribe to the Hash It Out Show on all social media platforms. We thank you so much for all your support. We have a little announcement we will talk at the end of the show about the upcoming football season. This is just a little important there because of the fact that, hey, we're going to probably need some of your help for what we're about to do. So we're going to have that at the end of the show. But we got a lot going on tonight. We will talk LSU baseball, 7:30. We will have Brad Neffendorf, the head coach of the LSU Shreveport Pilots, who has finished a historic season in college baseball. We will talk to him and about the LSU Shreveport Pilots. And then right after that, we will talk Women's College World Series on the softball side, a huge upset. And on top of that, a big time setting for a great final. And the NBA coaching changes and the preview of the NBA Finals. But I can't do this alone. We got George Peppis right here joining us tonight. What's going on, George?
What's up, VK? Yeah, it's a full plate tonight and the announcement at the end of the show. Looking forward to that. But why not? Let's kick since we're talking LSU, Shreveport at 7:30. Let's talk big LSU, Baton Rouge, and the sweatbox they went through in their regional.
Absolutely. We're going to definitely talk about that. But before we go further into that, big shout out going to Jared J.B. Boyd. He's not with us tonight because his mom is celebrating a birthday today. So a big
Mm-hmm.
shout out to Miss Agnes Boyd, as a big supporter of the Hash It Out Show and what we do. And we thank her so, so much. We love her very, very much. And a happy birthday to you.
But
God bless you. And we hope you see many, many more.
absolutely, I echo that. But she needs to put her son in check. I mean, that stuff he posted on the Facebook chat just a little while ago. He found time to dig on me about my alumni. 2000, horrible year, horrible. Man,
I don't know. But besides all that, Ms. Agnes,
let's
we love
move
you very
on.
much. Let's move on. The LSU Fighting Tigers are in the Super Regional now in the NCAA tournament, getting a 10-6 game 7 win in the regional to over Arkansas Little Rock to get to the Super Regionals. And man, I'll tell you one thing, LSU didn't really have it too easy. They did what they're supposed to do, but then when it came down to it, Arkansas Little Rock gave LSU a time. They really did. And I'll tell you one thing, big shout out to Matt Moscona. He kind of pointed it out. He was like, don't really take this team lightly because they really came upon late, and especially that a lot of their best players came back healthy at the right time.
You say that, but if you're LSU, you're supposed to do bigger things than go to a deciding elimination against a four seed that was 11 games under 500. Can't be messing around. What this regional showed, LSU's pitching depth is absent. Besides Kate Anderson and Janssen, they don't have much. The bullpen is shaky. The bottom of the lineup isn't that good. They're not the complete LSU team that people perceive them to be. Guess what? A tougher challenge awaits this weekend from that group from Morgantown, West Virginia, who went into Clemson and whooped that regional and did what they thought they were expected to do. It's a 43-win team coming to Baton Rouge. This is an exponentially tougher challenge on paper. It should be. But LSU maybe got exposed, VK, in this regional. And look, no discrediting Little Rock, but that's the same Little Rock that you're talking about. They got all their players back. That LSU beat 7-0 without Kate Anderson in the first game of the regional, right? Then they come back without those two starters and go 10-4. They lost 5-1. They're down in the fourth or fifth inning, and they had to rally to win. I am not sold on this LSU team getting further than this weekend. I think they're in a big problematic spot. They may get through because I don't know how West Virginia is going to react under this circumstance. It's not a program that has sustained success. So how are they going to get used to this element of pressure? Yeah, LSU's been there, but VK, there's a lot of red flags on this LSU baseball team I see, and Little Rock exposed them.
Yeah, Lil Rock did expose him, and it was that, and there might have been some red flags. I really think, here's the thing about college baseball: there's always parity. Then on top of that, anybody can get anybody. You have to think about
Mm-hmm.
this. Look at how many national seeds did not make the Super Regional, including the number one team. Vandy's
And two,
gone.
and
One
number
and
two,
two.
Texas,
Yeah, Texas is
gone.
gone. All these top seeds, and it's not a surprise. So to me, I give a lot of credit up to Lil Rock. They came on and played. Now LSU, they got to really fix some things more than anything else. Now West Virginia, I think they'll give LSU a time. I think it could go 2-3 games. Maybe it might go three because of the fact I think West Virginia is going to be a fighting team, ready to go. I think they might have been in the Super Regional maybe once or twice in the experience of the postseason, but at the same time, but we'll see what happens because LSU should not take them lightly. LSU just need to take care of business more than anything else because this is a West Virginia team that could go in there and steal it. It's but you look at the field more than anything else. West Virginia, they coming out of the Clemson Regional, probably one of the most up and down baseball programs in America. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know what Clemson team you're gonna get. You really don't, because they come out great and all of a sudden they fall flat on their face in the regional, or they look like they fall flat on their face during the season, and all of a sudden they can catch fire late
Mm-hmm.
and everything else. You know what I'm saying? But that's an up and down program. So it's not a surprise that West Virginia came out of that region. So regardless of the fact, I think the pitchers got to step up. I think the bullpen, you got to be honest with you, in that last game, that bullpen was big,
They were. They had
unbelievable
to
how
be.
and that's the thing. It had to be, but they came up big the time they did, especially with the comeback for LSU. So I think they could carry that momentum going into this weekend, and it's got to be all systems go. And he had to look, the bottom of the lineup actually hit well in that last game as well. So some of the
It
stuff you're saying, everything kind of turned around in that last game.
and if we're talking about turning around against Little Rock, now the competition class steps up. West Virginia, Big 12. I'm not surprised they got here. I really am not. And I'm not going to say Clemson is schizophrenic or up and down or any of that. What I am going to say is that Mountaineer team was clicking down the stretch, and they really are playing their best baseball. So I really am not surprised. There were a couple of big surprises coming out of regionals. I mean, Murray State. Who'd have thought they'd have got through? And then Wright
Mm.
State knocks out Vanderbilt, but then they get knocked off by Louisville to go into the Super. Tennessee gets pushed to an elimination game. North Carolina pushed to an elimination game. And I like the Tar Heels nationally. I think they're a team that can do. Arkansas look great. Auburn, you know. But here's the byproduct: did the SEC beat up on each other too much? Look how many of their teams are gone before Super Regional. Look how many teams got knocked off. So LSU, the draw has opened up. The Tigers have questions to answer, and I'm not sold that they did it against Little Rock. They've got to do it against better competition. I think they're in for a fight, and they better come win it. Cade's going to start Saturday because that's when game one is, right? And Ironson is going to start Sunday. If let's say VK, just for fun's sakes, if Cade doesn't come with his best and LSU loses game one, are we burying them, or do you think they could rally back?
I think we didn't see it many many times that the LSU Tigers has came back. So trust me, I wouldn't have them out. Not at all, because we didn't seen LSU came back before in many super regionals. So
Hmm.
that's why I'm thinking I wouldn't. It should be 2-0 for LSU, but I would not be surprised that West Virginia might really give them a time. We'll definitely see about that.
It'll be a good super regional, that's for sure. And if you go into the box this weekend, guys, safe travels and everything else. But let's be hospitable towards the team coming in, and then send them back to Morgantown 2-0, right?
I hope so. I really hope so. We'll
I tell you
definitely
who's. I think. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm gonna interject one more thing. I tell you who's going to be big LSU fans this week. Omaha. When LSU goes to Omaha, what
of course.
the businesses go crazy in Omaha when LSU fans show up because they spend. Boy, do they! The budget's unlimited, so you best believe the business owners in Omaha, the restaurants, the shops, and whatever else is around Omaha and the stadium. You best believe they're big LSU fans this weekend.
Absolutely. And you have to think LSU is one of the biggest fan bases to come through at
Hmm.
Omaha. And they know that's when big money comes in. The last time they got to Omaha and won a national championship, man, you talking about it was a great 2 weeks. Tigers fans was up in there. Wow, tell you, man, they love LSU when they get there. So, but I think if LSU gets to the College World Series, and I really think LSU has a great chance, because you have to think about this. The team that really impressed me, and the two teams, and you're right, Arkansas, they're really good. North Carolina kind of scares me because of their experience. Because their experience in itself, they could be a team that could win it all. North Carolina, definitely. Arkansas, could it be finally the time that they crack through? We just don't know. We'll see, because this is a good program, but Arkansas has been in their big stage and come up short. So my thing is, looking at the field, we'll see what happens. I don't think it's going to be easy for Auburn either. I don't think it's going to be easy, because you have to think this is a building program that's been consistent over the years, and that's Coastal Carolina. So, you know, ain't nothing easy at all. I think a lot of these super regionals are going to be really interesting and good. I think Arizona, you know, Arizona might be near North Carolina time now. So I would not be surprised either. So we'll see. You know what I'm saying? Because it had to come down. Did it come down to the third game for LSU in North Carolina last year in the Super Regional? So we'll see.
Mm, yeah, that's who knocked them out. And strangely, LSU and Carolina, if they win their way to Omaha, guess what? They get each other 6 versus 3 in Omaha. First game, well, not first. I don't know what game of whether it be game 1, 2, 3, or 4, but they draw the Tar Heels if they both go through.
That's going to be interesting. West Virginia LSU will kick it off Saturday at 1 o'clock. Saturday, 1 p.m. over at Alex Box Stadium. Get your tickets. Come support the Tigers. It's going to be an interesting one as the Super Regionals get started. All Super Regionals start on Friday. Now let's get to our first guest. We're really our only guest for the night. Man, I'll tell you one thing. This head coach has done a great job, 6 years. at LSU Shreveport. LSU Shreveport completing one of the most historic seasons in the history of college baseball, and I think the only undefeated team ever in college baseball history, 59-0 and winning the 2025 NAIA National Championship. We have the head coach Brad Neffendorf joining us right now. Coach, how you doing, man? And welcome to the show.
I'm doing well. I appreciate you guys having me on again.
Absolutely, absolutely. And first of all, for myself and the Hash It Out Show crew, we wanted to give you a sincere congratulations and everything on an unbelievable year. And we were watching and everything. I mean, overall period, regardless of y'all going 59-0, what a great World Series. I mean, a lot of great competition all around and everything. And you guys faced a little adversity and some adversity, but you guys bounced back. And you said it yourself, even from the first game of the year, that this could be a really good team. And from game one all the way to 59, you went unblemished. What you can say about you guys accomplishing things, but not just that, the fact that you broke a record for the most wins in the regular season, but then put it behind y'all to go finish the job and win the title.
No, first off, I appreciate it. It means a lot. I mean, it's obviously special. Well, we had a special group. Yeah, I mean, we faced probably, I think, three of the four games that we had to really, were kind of pushed a little bit right at the beginning of the year, and I think those helped as reminders. When some teams will think that you need to lose a game, I think those are the reminders that we needed to keep, on a level of high execution and practice each day. But the World Series was great. It was good. We had some convincing wins, and we had a couple that were close, especially in that first half of the national title game. It was one of those games where you're sitting back halfway through and you're going, you know what, we just played 58 games, and you got to be kidding me. Right now, they jump out 4-0. Every ball they put in play is finding a hole. They're bailing everything in sight. Ours are loud outs. We can't get anybody on. We can't stop a nosebleed. And then all of a sudden, everything just kind of changed. And I think that's a testament to how our guys, just stayed poised and loose and responded to everything throughout the entire year. And at one point, I kind of looked down at the dugout to my left and I was like, what in the world would I even like? It's not that I was worrying, but I'm sitting there kind of going, what is going on right now? And then I kind of looked to my left and went, why would I even think about anything? I mean, the group to my left and the group to my right, they've been what they've been for 58 games. And, just kind of sat back and let them go, and it caught fire, and we ended up kind of exploding on offense. And finally, had a guy to come in that struggled a little bit for us this year until the last couple of weeks, and Kenneth Schechter, and he came in and put up those 4 zeros for us, and that was kind of the sealing the deal right there for us, is we finally got somebody in that game from a pitching standpoint to come in and minimize the guys on base and put up zeros and get the leadoff hitters out, and it's honestly what fueled us for the rest of that game.
Absolutely, Coach. And looking at how the World Series went, you guys had uh, similar 6-3 wins in your first two games of the World Series, but all of a sudden you guys scored in double digits the last three games, including the last game, more than anything else. Did you think it was a little bit of the nervousness earlier in those two games that really woke up your offense the last three?
I think I think you can call it that, but I think it had more so to do with, it might have been the first time all year where our guys felt like, hey, let's go in here. And it could have been something I said, the day before, just kind of getting them going or whatnot, where I probably should have stayed out of the way. I think maybe it was more so, hey, let's go in here and prove a point. And it got us out. I mean, we jumped out strong in that first inning against Grandview and won a double and a 2-run home run right away. It could be a little bit of that, but I think if you watch us throughout the tournament and kind of getting going, we're a team that plays a lot better when we're playing all the time. And the World Series bracket with the 10 teams is so much different than 8, because you got to, like, you can only go 4 games a day. So that's why you saw the 5 and 6 didn't play until day 2. So we had game 1, then we had 2 days off, then we played, then we had a day off, and then once we finally started playing each and every day, we started playing each and every day like we have the entire year. So I think it was the best thing for us to be able to get through those 2. And then, we saw live pitching 3 days straight, and our bats kind of started getting going. And I think that paved a lot for how we responded to the rest of the tournament.
Very much agree. We're here with Brad Neffendorf, the head coach of LSU Shreveport, 59 and 0, 2025 national champions. Gotta ask you this. You had over five players, I believe, five players that made the all tournament team. And that is huge in itself. I don't know if it's that the most ever at a World Series, but that is a lot of players, and it seemed like a lot of the players that were named. I mean, uh, great roles, and everybody, including the person who won the MVP, the most outstanding player of that tournament.
Yeah, and then it was replicated today. We had five All Americans, which was the most that we've ever had. And I think the most when I think we had three the last time I was here. Three might be the max that we've had in the World Series. In regards to all tournament team, which is tough because you're only taking so many guys between all 10 teams that are there. So um, yeah, that was great to see. And honestly, they're continuing to get to, be recognized for the things that they've done this year. But to be honest with you, to capitalize that tournament with having the National Pitcher of the Year named today and Isaac Rhodey, who's returning, who was also the MVP of that tournament, went 16 and 0 this year, and then to have four other All Americans, it said a lot about this team, a lot about what they've done, and rightfully so. They deserve. Anybody goes 59 and 0. But you look at one point throughout the year, we had good numbers across the board, but we didn't have anything really other than a couple pitchers glaring and sticking out. And I think that said a lot to the team is we were doing what we did this year um, until late when some of those numbers took off and they started glaring at you. It was a total team effort. I mean, at one point this year, we had 23 position players that stepped foot on the field, and it was the most in the country. And that just goes to show. I mean, there's 23 position players and 15 pitchers. That's a lot on a team that did what they did to be able to get that many guys out there and see the field and still be able to do what we did before we set the lineup consistent the last month of the year. So I think there's a lot of things, including what you just said, that pay a testament to what these guys did this year and how they did it.
Well, I tell you, I know the atmosphere is kind of different a little bit up in I believe that is Idaho, Lewiston,
Yeah.
Idaho. So, is it where the World Series is every year? If it's there, like, what's good about that atmosphere? And especially, and another question on that one is, you've been at LSU Shreveport 6 years. You took a couple trips. What was the difference in this trip this time?
Honestly, and I don't know if I talked about this last time with you guys. We went out there last year for our bye weekend and played LC State. It was their bye weekend. We were ranked number 2, and I think they were 10. And they beat us 3 games by like a run. And then another game we were leading halfway through. They ended up putting us into the ground. But I think the difference is this: we had 20 some returners that we took out there last year with a really good team with the purpose of we took what they gave us as a guarantee to go out, and we thought it was going to be the best thing for us last year. It ended up being the best thing for us this year. We lost, on our home field by a run to get there last year. But like I told them, I think it was 3 days before we left. Hey, last year didn't work out, but I think we'd all trade it for the fact that we've got experience. We know the field, we know the town, that we know the routine. We've already played 4 games on that dirt. We know everything about that place. So if it didn't work out last year, it pays off tremendously for you this year with the experience that you had on that field. So I think that is a difference. Is even though we went back to back trips in 21 and 22, and there were some guys on 22 that were there in 21, they went in 21, if that makes sense. Like last year's group didn't make it back to what we wanted to do, so I think they had a little bit of a sour taste in their mouth after being ranked number 2 all year. And then we get out there this year to a place where, to answer your other question, it's been there for a number of years. There's people that don't like it because the host team has typically been in. I love it whether they're in it or not. I do love it when they're in it. The town embraces it. The town is used to it. It's extremely well organized. You look at our final game, there was almost 3,000 people there. Well, in small college baseball, that's tough to get. I'm pretty sure 75% of them, whether they were the hometown or ours, were wearing purple and gold because of what we were doing. Um, but it's an incredible environment. I would probably put it up as one of the top 2 in college baseball, better than Division 2, much better than Division 3 in regards to the atmosphere, how it's ran. The city is used to it. I've been out there fortunate 5 times, so I know everything about the routine, where you go, what you do, what you want to do. So I think that helps. But I love it, man. I mean, it's a perfect venue for our level. The only thing that sucks is just the travel. You got to fly into Spokane, then you got to drive 2 hours down, and but you know what? It's worth it. It's worth it that I've got in my system both have 100 receipts to put in from expense reports. I'd do it again every day of the year if it meant we got back out there with a chance to win it. So, um, to answer your question, last year helped, and then just the routine of what you know about the place. I mean, it's everybody talks about Idaho every year, so I would never want it to not be there.
Very much agreed. Before I pass it over to George Peppers for the questions from him, I gotta ask you about state of Louisiana baseball in itself. I asked you that last time, but I got to ask you through the NAIA lens with yourselves and how Loyola made a great run. Your friend Coach Kennedy and everything. I know they had a good comeback, came up short. But what you can say about how Louisiana baseball is really coming up, especially on the NAIA side with you and your guys and Loyola and all these good programs that are really, really emerging, including Southern University of New Orleans, Xavier, all these good programs out there. What you can say about the power of that, of how Louisiana is going, especially with y'all winning, and how Loyola made a nice run.
Well, I think that's a great question. It's kind of funny you asked me that because I just saw a text come through from Kennedy about something else on my phone as we talk every day, all day. And like you said, we got a great relationship. I can't speak, I'll first start with him. I can't speak enough about what he's done down there, what he's done in his career. You talk about a guy that's taken 3 different NAI programs to the national stage. He's a proven winner, and he's proven to be able to you know, develop and run a program and get the culture right and get the right people in around him. Um, I watched them every game out there. For some of the key pieces that they've lost this year, from their starting shortstop to a starting two-way blowing his knee early in the year to losing their DH to losing their number one arm, once again speaks high volumes of what he's done, but also what type of other players they had around those guys as supporting cast. And they fared well out there. I thought they played really well. When you look at the state of Louisiana in general, I think this is one easy way to look at it. In 2023, which obviously we all know of them every year, LSU wins the national title. In 2024, LSU Eunice wins the national title. In 2025, LSU Shreveport wins the national title. And there's so many other programs in this state that are making regionals, playing deep into the postseason. It doesn't matter what level it is. It's awesome to see. And I think it's continuing to get better. I can't say enough, but baseball's just different here, man. I'm from the West Coast, where obviously I was born and raised around Oregon State, winning 2 of them, and then going back for a third one. And, it's different out here. It's a faster paced game. I enjoy it. I love it. And I can't speak enough about how much it's continuing to progress and get better in this state. I mean, there's no better.
I think more than anything else, they need to have besides Louisiana being the best football state per capita, they need to have base as Louisiana is the best baseball state per capita.
Yeah, no,
To
I'm
be
with you, man.
honest with
It's it's great. It's best decision I've ever made. Not because we made a national title. I like the area and everybody that we play in this area. Even some of the newer programs like you brought up, Xavier, they've had really competitive teams. I mean, the first year we ever played them, I think it was 22 here. They're running out an arm that pitched at LSU. I can't remember his last name, and it's a low slot left-hander underneath the lights at our place, going 91 and 94. Suno making our regional this year. Louisiana Christian coming into NAI out of D3 and making back-to-back regional appearances this last year. Mike Burns has been there forever. I mean, LSUA has had some really good teams, and you know, Louisiana Lafayette and Louisiana Tech, what they're doing, and obviously we'll see what goes on with Louisiana Monroe. And Federico is a great dude, and that's a tough job, and it'll be tough for whoever goes in there. UNO's making a change, and Blake Dean had done a great job there. And look what they did deep into the, win their bracket and go play Houston Christian in the conference tournament championship game. They're one series away from making a regional. So, I mean, we can go on and on about what this state has done in baseball.
very much agreed, and shout out to Andy Kennedy. Make sure you let him know we gonna have him on the show. We ain't forget about Andy. We had him on before.
Jeremy Kennedy.
Jeremy Kennedy.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, man. We're
Yeah,
not
he's
gonna
good.
have him. Absolutely. George Peppers, you're up.
Coach, I gotta echo the sentiments of our co-host. Man, congratulations on winning the national championship. I was one of the, and we're always objective and everything, but seeing you guys and from your last interview with us, I was able to watch some of your journey. I mean, my work schedule precluded me from watching every game, but congratulations on getting it done and bringing a national championship home. My first question, though, in the collegiate sports landscape, football, we've seen teams go undefeated, 13, 14 and 0. In basketball, they play 40 plus games. It's rare that a team goes undefeated, but in baseball, it just feels a lot more difficult. You guys were able to go 59 and 0. I want you to tell us about the journey, because there's always peaks and valleys in a season. Teams slump at the plate. Your pitching's not always on point.
Yeah.
How were you able to manicure this season and keep this team laser focused?
That's the thing, man, is they did stay laser focused. Obviously, we do what we can with what we say and how we do it with these players, but ultimately, it comes down to them and how they manage distractions, how they manage just everything they do on a daily basis, because there's so much that can get in the way. A lot of the ups and downs that we had were this fall. Obviously we have a unique situation our fall. We get 8 weeks with them. Nobody takes 8 weeks because it's just long. We get some breaks in there. It was an ugly fall. I mean, we're talented. We knew we had a lot back. Uh, I, Part of that is them learning our system with the new guys and the returners, getting them acquainted to it. But it was an ugly fall, probably one of the more uglier falls that I've seen with just stuff that went on. But that was just from them playing hard. And you watched how hard they went every day while trying to learn and keep up with the pace that we asked with them. You kind of saw it start to come together at the end in October, before November when we ended. And then we get into that first inning of the year where we go up 8-0 on McPherson. And I know it's stupid to say this, but I looked at my assistant. I said, "Man, we both talked. We knew that when we lined up against another team in another dugout and saw two different uniforms on, we'd be able to start telling how we were going to be outside of just the talent that we had." And we knew right then and there we had a chance to be really good, whether it was the first inning of the first game of the year or not. Um, I think what happened, our guys did a really good job of taking the reminders that we had in those close games to begin the year, a few of them here and there, that we had to come back and walk them off after we blew some leads. And we told them all year long, we don't have to lose games. We're not ever coming into a game to do anything other than, win a baseball game and give ourselves a chance. But if we can't learn from the reminders that went on in those games, then it's going to be tough for us to progress and get better throughout the year. And I'm telling you what, man, they kept their foot on the gas pedal. They showed up every day with the same attitude, as tough as it is to want to get out there, especially towards the middle, back half of the year, and want to practice and do the same thing over and over and over and over and over. But truly, what it came down to is they didn't have a problem doing any of that because they enjoyed being around each other so much. And it's hard to find that in college athletics anymore with 21, 22, 23, and 24-year-olds, because of everything that goes on in their lives. And it takes one thing to tick them off, one thing to, to hurt their feelings, one thing for them to, not want to go hard that day. And truthfully, we had very, very, very few days where you didn't see a group that wasn't excited to be out there and enjoy their time. And that's, you fast forward now to the end of the year. That's the one thing we kept talking about. We're in postseason now. We're 0-0. Obviously, we go into every game 0-0. But the deal here is you're fighting for more time together. And if you guys have proven to us that you love being around each other so much, playing together, then your job is to go fight against somebody else to continue to keep advancing on and having more time around each other. And I honestly, they took it, and we stayed out of their way. We had more voice on this team that led to more leadership and accountability within that locker room this year than we've ever had. And I think that is the main piece on top of, take 59-0. Well, I think we went 59-0 because they went 59-0 in the locker room.
Hmm. That's a great philosophical answer. In the World Series itself, let's talk about the tournament itself. You guys, in the winners bracket, was it the winners bracket game when you played Hope, the reigning national champions? It felt like that was your toughest challenge, and no disrespect to the team that you won the national title against, but you had to beat that Hope team twice.
Yep.
Well, the first time you played them, and then they had to go through the elimination bracket to get to you. Talk about that challenge and understanding that, hey, look, to be the champ, you got to beat the champ, and they're the reigning champions. Talk about how you guys approached those two games with Hope.
Well, I mean, I think our guys knew that and respected it. And the one thing you got to give credit to Hope is they lost the first game of the World Series last year and then won 5 or 6 straight to win
Hmm.
a national title. They returned their 90% of their pitching staff, and including a guy that won, I think, 15 games last year, which we faced him. He started against us game one and then came out of the bullpen in game two. They had a real left-hander that came out of the pen in game one as their number two starter. They just tried to piece it together, and he started this next game. Um, Our guys knew, but once again, like they weren't worried about it. But when you saw Hope win and kind of start coming back through the bracket again, I think that pays a ton of respect to what they've done in their program. Um, how tough it is to get back again, how tough it is to play into the Final Four like they did, to be a game away. They were a really good club, very confident, arrogant, but in a good way. And I think that
Mhm.
they weren't worried about us until I think we got into the middle of game one, and then we came out in game two, and we were kind of. I mean, I thought we bullied them a little bit in game two. It took a few innings, but that's when we started to play each day, and our bats came alive. Um, you're right though. Like if you're going to be in a position to win it, you're going to have to take care of it in those moments where you're playing. It doesn't matter how good you are. It's baseball, and that team might be better on that day, and we found a way with them and everybody else to make our better than somebody else's that day.
Yeah, the way you guys dug in and really, dug in and was showing a lot of resilience. That was very admirable to see. In the championship game, you mentioned Southeastern got out to a white hot start. When did obviously the game turned. What did you tell your team in the middle of that stretch when they were ahead 4-0? How were you able to keep your team uh, basically not so much focused, but like, hey, look, stay in it, stay in it. What did you tell them?
Well, I think it started first off with the coaching staff. Not that anybody was doing anything. It's just one of those deals where I pulled them up and we just talked as a staff. I was like, look, if we're gonna have a chance in this game, like we have to remain composed. Starting with myself, we have to remain loose. We have to remain poised. We haven't done it for 58 games, so let's let this thing play out and trust our guys. And that's the biggest thing that I personally kept going back into my head was like, just trust these guys. You've trusted them for 58 games. They know it. They trust us. And then let's go about a half inning later. We had fought back in 4-0, made it 4-3, and left, I think, the bases loaded with one out and didn't score again. Just brought the guys up and said, look, man, we start myself. We all just got to remain who we were and what we've done the entire year. It's tough to beat us in a 9 inning game, which obviously at our level we can place in sevens. I said, man, they got to keep up with us for 5 more innings. Just remain who you are, what we're doing. We got to work on getting the leadoff on. We got to work to just score one run at a time, and we got to go out. We got to get the leadoff hitter out on defense and put up a zero. If we do that, we'll be fine. And we finally, I think, I don't know what it was. I mean, we just kind of started, the energy shifted a little bit. We finally got a zero on defense. We went out and started chipping away on offense, and then it just kind of went from there. So, um, it's more so just you can have your talks, but just kind of stay out of the way. Like I could have messed that thing up severely. I probably was on the verge of it at one point when I looked out and saw some of the stuff going on. I'm going, what the heck is going on right now? Like, then I just, man, stay out of their way, let them do their thing, trust them. And you know what we did? And they just took off. Like our bats started catching every barrel we needed to. And we had some big innings and shut down some big innings. And that's all it took.
Loud outs turn into a lot of runs, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And ends up winning a national championship. You kind of touched on this during your VK's session with you. The tournament, the way the tournament played out, the World Series, the gaps in play. You had to wait 2 days to play another ball game. I heard you touch on it a little bit. Are you a fan of that format, or do you feel like just playing every day? What do you feel? I know you won the national title, and it's a coach speak thing, but how do you feel about the way the format is set up to where if you win, you got to wait a couple of days?
Very good question, but very complex in regards to answering it because we tried to change this bracket so many times because it's honestly screwed the one seed at times because typically when you go into it, the one seed doesn't play till the second day and you play at night and two teams have already got home. You've sat around forever. You get to throw your one that day against somebody's two, but then you only get Sunday off and then you can't like it doesn't help you in the long run of things. There used to be buys in there where you get down to a final three teams. If somebody hasn't had a buy, they get to automatically go in, and it's just really tough with 10 teams because you could go. We talk about going 2 5-team pods and the winners meet in the final, but you know they use Sunday is kind of an off day, a weather day. Some teams at our level can't play on Sundays because of the religious background, which is fine. Um, the only way you're ever going to get perfect is if you have an 8-team bracket.
Mhm.
I'm a fan of it because it worked out for us. But let's go to the very last 2 days of the tournament. We're 3-0. We play Hope. Georgia Gwinnett just gets done winning. Actually, they lose. But if Georgia Gwinnett would have beat Southeastern and we would have lost to Hope International, George Gwinnett, based off the buys, would have, after losing a game and we had gone 3-0 and won the semifinal game, we would have had to come back and play Hope again the next day with George Gwinnett getting a day off and being in the national title. So that's where it goes from taking care of the 1 seed to begin with to it screwing you in the end when you've done the work of being 3-0. But if you lose one by Lord, now you're going to get penalized when the whole goal is to protect the 1 seed. I mean, it's a lot more complex than that. I couldn't even explain the thing enough to you. Nobody still understands it. We always work on improving it every year. It's got some kinks that got to get worked out. We want 10 teams because if you went to 8, now you're losing 6 more teams that make a regional. You're going down to 40 teams instead of 46 that we have. So there's plus and minus to both sides. We've just got to find a way to keep it at 10 and make it right. And it's going to take some serious, it's going to take a scientist, somebody that works at NASA to figure out how to get it to go right. Because I'm telling you what, it's a freaking
Oh,
nightmare.
it is, and I like your idea about the fact that you could do two 5-team pods and winners go on and play for the title. That works.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
actually
And
works.
it
That
would just
does
have to,
work.
yeah, it would have to change the days in which you're there, and you'd have to eliminate
Yes,
some of those days. I mean, they've got their reasons for everything, but I mean, until we figure out what's right, I don't know if there is a right for it. I mean, and what's funny is we all agreed, and all of us coaches voted to go forward with this bracket. You don't start thinking about it and disagreeing with it and getting ticked off with it until you get to the final couple of days. If you're there and late, then you're going, "What in the world did we agree on?"
right.
Um,
No, I'm sorry. I was waiting on you to finish your
No,
thought, but
I mean, it's a good question. I really do like the question
thank
because
you.
we all wonder the same thing, man. Like it's I like the fact we have 10 teams, but it's somewhat of a nightmare.
It seems like not so much logistically, but bracketing wise. Yeah, I agree. Um, Has it's been a few days now since you've gotten this national championship. Obviously, the victory parade and the victories and everything else. It was great celebration. Has it sunk in yet for you that you've got a national title and went undefeated?
Maybe a little bit day by day. The undefeated one is the one that I think is going to take some time to sink in. I think if you're on the outside, and I mean this in the right way. I think it's a lot, just like I would be. Southeastern, who we beat, won it in 22. I think they finished 54-3 or 54-4. They had 2 losses. I think 2 losses. Maybe they had 3 losses total. They had 2 going to the World Series. They lost the national title game, the first one, and had to be forced to play another one, and ended up winning it. We all looked at them that year. They started off 25-0, then lost 2 games, and I don't think it lost another one until the end of the year. We sat and looked at it and go, man, this is unbelievable. Like, you're 54-3. You win it. This is the best team we've ever seen. And that was easy for me to look at it and go, man, that's incredible. I don't have the same feelings right now sitting in this chair and talking to you guys because I can't comprehend it. It just doesn't. Maybe next year when we lose 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 games, I'm going to look back and go, gosh, dang it. Last year's team would have. My guys make fun of me all the time right now. Oh, you're going to be, last year's team would have done this. They would have done that. And they probably wouldn't have. They went 59-0. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, the national title is probably sinking in more, especially with, the recognition, the publicity, interview after interview, and I love doing them because it's the recognition that our guys need.
Hmm.
It's hard to fathom the 59-0. I no, that has not sunk in at all, man. I can't even think about it. It's weird.
Yeah, I just needed another trophy for the trophy case, and that's a good thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, my last question. It's never too early to look ahead to next year, and that's only June. I know we play until next year, but tell us what you've got coming back. What kind of how much experience you got coming back? How much are you losing? And just give us a little bit of a early overview of what we got, what we could look forward to next year.
Well, we've started to do exit meetings, and everybody that can come back is coming back, so that's a good thing. And we have on the position side, we have some guys that made, a handful of starts this year. Um, Buddy, get out of here. Sorry. A handful of starts this year, but ended up, as we set the lineup, everybody that you saw from an offensive standpoint at the end of the year is gone. So that's going to be tough. Now we do, like you guys talked about Dorian Jackson. Like we've got some really high level athletes coming in, which is what we always start with. We've got some of the better junior college players in the country coming back, and we're on a lot of really good names. It's a matter of hitting on those guys. Now, from a pitching standpoint, Draven Ziegler, who was our number 2 first team All American, he made the decision today. He had another year that he's not going to proceed Get out of here, man. Sorry, my kid. He's not going
You're
to pursue
fine.
the independent ball route. He's a guy that a lot of affiliate clubs have been on. He's coming back unless he signs a free agent contract or somehow gets drafted, which he should. If he was playing at Division One, he's not even here right now. Two of our better bullpen arms and our guy that started the national title game, which that was the first time he gave up a run on the year. He's back. So we have some really good pieces, even though we lost some really good pieces with Brody and Reeves, who both struck out 145 and 115 coming back. We've signed, I think we've improved behind the dish, even though, we had a really good catcher this year. Our depth back there is good. So we will not be anything that we think we can be unless we find a shortstop half as good as what we had this year, because Jose Salarin is the best shortstop in the country defensively at all levels, the best I've ever coached, the best I've ever seen, the best I've ever been around. I mean, the guy fielded 980 2 years in a row and is a two-time National Gold Glove winner. Like he's unbelievable. So he's kind of the driving force of why we were what we were on the defensive side. So I like where we're at, but I'm gonna feel sorry for whoever's at shortstop next year, regardless of how good they are, because they're not gonna be him. And I'm gonna drill their tail into the ground every day. That's just all there is to it. So we'll be fine. Like every year it's kind of a revolving door, but I like where our starting at right now for the first week of June.
Coach Brad Neffendorf of the LSU Shreveport Pilots. We appreciate you joining us tonight on the Hash It Out show. It's unbelievable that you see a team going undefeated, but not just that, your entire pitching staff goes unbeaten and has probably two pitchers that had maybe more than 5 saves. So never seen anything before in my life, man, but amazing stuff, Coach. Congrats, and we wish you the best going forward with the LSU Shreveport program. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Hey,
That was
coach.
Brad Neffendorf
Thank you,
of
guys.
LSU Shreveport. Thank you. And man, look out for these guys. They're going to be back in the fold next year to try to defend the national championship after what they have done this season. So we definitely appreciate Coach coming along here tonight.
Thank you.
Jared, I'm gonna say, George, give us your thoughts on this on Coach Neffendorf, the job he's done with this program and the season LSU Shreveport has this year.
Just oozes confidence, doesn't he? I mean, that's what I take from the two interviews that we did with Coach Neffendorf, and the season they had. Listen, the degree of difficulty in baseball to go undefeated VK is crazy. 59 games to have to be on point, and there are games that there are. Look, you broadcast games all year long, and you're affiliated with a couple of teams, but there's always peaks and valleys in baseball. It's like that at every level. But this pilots team had special and had destiny written on it, and they were they were able to be that team for 59 games. And look
Yes.
what it got, a national championship. Well deserved. And looking forward to talking with Coach again at some point, during the season, next season, especially if they're undefeated next year, which that would be absolute insanity if that team can go goose egg and throw another bagel up in the loss column next year. That would be just crazy, VK. But yeah, well deserved. And to the people that support this program up in Shreveport, great work by you guys keeping behind the team and being the group that supports them, and y'all keep pushing for them. They did unprecedented things this year, VK, and it needs to be rewarded. 5 All-Americans today, 5 people made the all tournament team. You could just bottle this up. If he could bottle this up and put it to 2026, I think he would be, Coach Niffendorf would be good with that. If you could bottle this team up and pour that out in 26, I think he'd be good with it.
It's a lot of pressure, a little bit on
It is.
LSU Shreveport. They're coming in the next season, 59 game winning streak. Wow. So, but regardless of the fact, but looking at the LSU overall system, wow. 2022, the LSU Fighting Tigers, national champions.
Mhm.
2023, the LSU Eunice the LSU Eunice Bengals, the junior college team, wins the national championship last year in Division Two. And all of a sudden, and you look at this year, 59-0 for LSU Shreveport, but not just that, you look at the year overall for the 3 schools. LSU Shreveport goes 59-0, wins national championship. LSU Eunice, they go 55-0. 25-4, but came up short
They
in the
did.
regional. But at the same time, what a year for a first year in Division One NJCA. And
Hmm.
then the LSU Fighting Tigers are in the Super Regional and the number 6 overall seed. So what an unbelievable year this LSU system has done, regardless of the fact.
Exactly. And then I don't know who won the Junior College World Series. I mean, once LSU units went out, don't know if the team that beat them won it. I haven't. I'm going to
No,
be honest.
well, Shelton State is the one that beat them, and they was bowed out 2-0, bowed out 0-2, gone.
Oh, two and two
Like
barbecue.
two and
Damn.
barbecue, just like last
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
I was hoping that Shelton State would have had maybe a better showing in this go round more than anything else. But I think because this was probably the best Shelton State team in this last 3 years they made the Junior College World Series, I really thought this might have been the best one. So I'm
Makes you
thinking maybe
mhm.
maybe
Makes
they
you
make a
wonder
good
though.
move. You know? Right.
That Eunice blew the last game. They were up what 5-1, I think, or something like that. They were up pretty
Yes.
healthy,
Yes.
6-1,
6-1.
and they let it get away. Makes you wonder if they were the team that would have got to Grand Junction, what they could have done. That could have been a what could have been situation.
What could have been, yeah, but then on top of that, that would have been the biggest test because
Yep.
now you're going in Division One and you're going against the toughest of the tough of these programs. So I really think it'll
Mhm.
be a huge test for Jeff Willis and his squad to see what they're really made of because they've been question marks from Division Two for all these years. It's like, what you gonna do when you come to the big boys? Now they're here now. What a great first year. But let's see if they roll from it and seeing what happens. Because I ain't gonna lie, state of Alabama, I'm like this, man. Louisiana's gaining, and it's one of them years. Louisiana's gonna crack and win that region in itself. I believe. Then I gotta check upon if next year does Louisiana host the regional next year. So I just gotta see about that. If next year is gonna be the year that Louisiana finally hosts. So we'll see about that. That will be a huge change if Louisiana does host the region next year between the two regions. So we'll just
Mhm.
see about that. But regardless of the fact, man, as we move on from there, great season for Coach Neffendorf and his team. Let's talk now a little bit about the Women's College World Series in softball. And I tell you, man, we got the national championship going tonight, getting it going right now. And it's Texas and Texas Tech for the Nat for this. It's a 3 game set starting tonight. The winner wins it all. The winner 2 out of 3 wins the whole shebang bang. Texas had, I mean, Texas went, I believe they went undefeated through their side of the bracket, and also Texas Tech went undefeated on their side of the bracket, including probably the biggest upset maybe ever in the Women's College World Series, taking down Oklahoma. And what a game it was! And my goodness, they had a real good pitcher who really played very well, had the game in hand, but one swing of a bat changed the whole ball game. And Oklahoma wound up tying it, but Texas Tech wound up winning it on a walk-off. And I mean, wow, what a moment it was a couple nights ago.
Cinema, absolute cinema. The way that the theater in that game and the way it played out, the ebbs and flows, and an update on Game One. It is scoreless in the fourth inning. Texas Tech playing Game One right now in Oklahoma City. It is scoreless right now in the
Good,
fourth inning.
good ball
So
game.
it is. And look, for all the hype that Canada gives you, she is a star. She's the first female player to sign an NIL deal in softball for $1 million plus, and she has backed it up. And the crazy thing is, a couple of days ago, was it yesterday or Monday, they announced that she had been dealing with a chronic hamstring injury during the season. So
Mm.
that makes it even more impressive. And Texas Tech is an upstart. They're a 12 seed. They've never been here to the national championship stage. Texas has. They've lost the last 3 times they've been here, all to the Sooners. So there's a lot of theater in this championship round. In-state rivalry. It isn't the biggest in-state rivalry, Texas and Texas Tech, but it should be great fun. And in women's softball, if you're not hip to it, get to it because there's a lot of great theater. Remember, early in the tournament, Tennessee Oklahoma was a great finish in that game where Tennessee had the game 2 runs up and Oklahoma walked them off on a 3-run bomb in the opening round of the World Series. Just the fact that the games are so competitive and everything else, this should be a 3-game final. I think whoever wins it is going to go 3. I just think there's not much in between these two. I think Texas Tech has announced themselves knocking out Coach Patty Sasso and Oklahoma VK, arguably one of the greatest coaches in the history of women's softball, to win 4 straight national championships. That's incredible. That's incredible, and at that level. And
Yeah.
and Texas Tech never been here wide eyed. Oh, we're in the semifinal, and oh boy, look where we got to go against that team. And then you're 2-0 to the good. You throw one bad pitch, ties the game, like you mentioned. Then the resilience they showed, they said, okay, Oklahoma, that's your best punch. Hold it. Here we go. And they go get the walk off. So I think we're in for, so far, it's like I said, it's scoreless in the fourth. We're in for an entertaining 3-game set.
This reminds me so much of a moment that it reminds me so much of in women's basketball when Mississippi State hit that game-winning layup
Yes,
at the buzzer against UConn, and I was shocked. I was not. I would not think that Mississippi State were going to pull it off because of the fact they played early in the season and UConn destroyed them,
they
and
did.
I was like, no way they're gonna get by them. But
Hmm.
Mississippi State just gave them their best punch, and they kept swinging, swinging for the fences, kept swinging, and they threw. And it was when the game was tied, and all of a sudden, and I believe it Morgan Williams who made that game winner, made that floater, and I was like, my mouth dropped, and I'm like, wow, now we have parity
Hmm.
in the women in college basketball. So looks like we have a little parity now in women's softball a bit.
Yep.
So this is really cool. Big ups to
Yep.
Texas Tech. Should be a good series. I think 3 games. I agree with you on that. I think it's going to be a great final series between Texas and Texas Tech. Somebody in the Lone Star State is going home with a
That's
national
guaranteed.
championship.
That's
That's
guaranteed. Whether it be Hook'em Horns or or the Lady Red Raiders. And it's funny you mentioned, yeah, exactly.
or guns up. You
Sh-
know what I'm saying? Not trying to
Absolutely.
that's what Texas Tech is. So Jared, don't get on me, but that's Texas Tech's model. That's what
And
it is.
another final, and I know we're going to get to basketball, but the Stanley Cup starts tonight. And through the end of one period, the Florida Panthers, the reigning champions, lead 2-1 over Edmonton at the end of one. So,
That should
VK,
be a
you're a
great.
hockey fan too.
That's a good. I think that's a good. I like hockey a little bit myself. I think that's a
Hmm.
really good. I'm not surprised that these two is going at it again for the Stanley Cup Finals. Not at all.
Might go
And
7.
I think it might go 7 again too. I think it might
Hmm.
go 7 again too with these two clubs. Connor McDavid trying to finally win a
Finally.
cup,
Yeah.
and then we got the Florida Panthers who's been churning and churning, working and working, and last year finally got it done, and a chance for them to go back to back because you realize last season that team was really young with a
Yep.
few vets on the team. And you just knew right then and there. A lot of people said, don't be surprised. The Florida Panthers might be back to defend their title. And they are
Mhm.
here right now. Let's
And
go. Let's go ahead.
I was going to say we could segue to basketball now. What do you want to go,
Yes.
Thibodeau, or you want to talk about the finals
Let's
first?
let's go Thibodeau first because we'll close
Okay.
it out with a preview of the finals. Um Tom Thibodeau, I mean, he done everything he can with the New York Knicks and taking them to their first Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years. Couple days later, after losing to the Indiana Pacers, big change happening in New York as Tom Thibodeau is no longer the head coach of the New York Knicks, as the Knicks is trying to find a new coach and everything else. George, give us you're a New Yorker.
I'm a Knicks fan.
You're a Knicks fan. Tell us your thoughts on this huge change, because some people are surprised, but some people, kind of like myself, not surprised. Your thoughts?
Here's the thing, and I talked with Jared yesterday, JB, yesterday. We talked for a brief show because I was getting, show prep. It's like, okay, and he filled me in about Coach Neffendorf joining us and everything else and whatnot. Um, and in that time, the story had broken about Tibbs getting fired. And I told Jared, I don't know what to feel. And that was yesterday. Today, it is 8:16 p.m. right now as we do the show, episode 226. I mean, there are pros and cons to this. The pro is Tom Thibodeau a limit coach? And what I mean by that, yes, 4 of the 5 years he was in New York, they got to the playoffs. 2 years in a row, 50 plus wins. This year, first time in 25 years, they got to a conference final. Arguably, maybe they were the better team, but Indiana used an incredible comeback in game one. I really don't think the Knicks ever recovered, to be honest. But Leon Rose, this is for you, brother. You had better come to the press conference, come out to the media instead of whipping out weak statements like Stephen A. Smith said. You need to show up. New York's asking for answers. Why did you make this change? What are you going to do? What's happening? For me, I don't know if Thibodeau is the coach that would have taken him to the next to a finals level. I mean, he's an incredibly good defensive minded coach, but he runs his starters into the ground. That was my biggest point of contention with him. You were running a rotation of 7. This is not college basketball, man. This is the NBA. You play 82 games in the regular season, and the playoffs are a 2 month grind. Okay? You got to trust your rookies, trust your talent, trust your bench. He didn't. In that vein, I think the change needed to happen. In that vein. But for the New York Knicks now, VK, they have got to find that dude that's going to push this group. By the way, this championship window is wide open. It is absolutely wide open. Consider Cleveland is still young, and they choked. They messed it up against Indiana, but that doesn't say very much. Why? Because the Pacers are in the finals. Detroit, that's the next up and comer. They showed you that in the first round against New York this year. Cade Cunningham and that crew, they're gonna be special going forward. Boston, yeah, they'll still be around with Jason Tatum. You don't know about Milwaukee because a lot of the buzz is that Giannis is going to get traded. Will Embiid come back and will Philadelphia bounce back? They're talking about trading Paul George. So the Knicks and the East are wide open. They had better get this coaching search right. One of my coworkers made a joke with me and said, "We'll give y'all Willie Green," and I'm like, "Look, I'm not going to hate on Willie Green. He does, but let him stay in New Orleans. I'm actually gonna look at the coaching pool and see what I like, and I haven't done that yet. The one name that I have immediately thought of, and I feel like he could win a championship because he did it in Milwaukee. Mike Budenholzer. He did it with the Bucks a couple of years ago. Eastern Conference, different level, different style of play. Um, got the job done, but he had Giannis. Now you got to deal with Cat. You know, I think the one thing that Tibbs messed up, Mikal Bridges was up and down this year. But Leon Rose, I need you to explain how you gave up 5 first rounders for a guy that never made the All Star game. Now, Michael Bridges has never been hurt. He's been healthy every year. But this year, Tibbs, I think he misused him. I really those that say he should have been fired. I agree. I can see that. And then there are those, the 250 win seasons in a row, conference finals appearances, say he should have given him one more year. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I'm not for or against, but now that it's happened, VK, they better get this right. And they cannot miss this. If they do, Leon Rose's head is on the plank.
I agree. I think they got to get this right, and I know they could get this right. There's a couple of coaches on the men right now, and the thing is that this is a time you got to pull the trigger and get Tibbs out of there. This is the time to do it. You know, the time you look at the Indiana series, how they got out. Now, to me, Thibodeau got out coached.
Oh, easily.
Thibodeau was forced his hand on a lot of things that he hardly didn't do all year. So it was coming. Even the Knicks fans was waiting on Tibbs to be gone. A lot of Knicks fans, because they felt like we don't have a deep enough bench. We need to give Brunson a break. These guys a break. You know what I'm saying? Get a good little rotation, come off the bench to like get some kind of energy and everything. So it wasn't a surprise at all to me. And I think this is the guy. You say Budenholzer. Budenholzer is a world champion, but he's an up and down playoff coach. That's the thing about Budenholzer. The guy, I think it should be the Knicks head coach. And I said it before and I say it again. Mike Malone. Mike Malone built
Mm-hmm.
that Denver team and got Denver to various conference finals and finally won a world title. And him being in the market, the New York Knicks will make a home run. I think the Knicks better go get Mike Malone with everything they got if they're
I,
gonna
I,
have
go-
a chance to win it all.
I like what you're saying. I do have one question about that whole thing. What precipitated his exit in Denver? Was there some in-house stuff going on? We don't know, and he's never really addressed it. Even in his guest runs as an analyst, he's itching to coach. He's itching to coach, and I think if Leon Rose reaches out to him, he's taking the job. But I want to know what precipitated his exit in Denver. With 3 games to go in the regular season, VK, you don't make that coaching change. You really don't.
I
And I
think it,
thought the
I think
timing was horrible.
right at the time it was horrible. Same thing you say in Memphis. I think it's the general managers and the administration. It's a different administration now in Denver. When
Hmm.
they're not on the same page, somebody's got to go.
Well,
And
they
I
both
think
went. Booth got fired too. GM
exactly
for Denver.
right. But see, that's what I'm saying. Somebody has to go, and that's how it is. Two people is not going to run things. If somebody not on the same page, then
That's a wrap.
somebody is a wrap. Somebody's going to be gone, regardless of what the achievements are not. So that's what I think would happen to him. And I think some of the players, I think things kind of ran its course for for Mike Malone in Denver too with some of the players as well. You know what I'm saying? Because I think things was not going the way it's supposed to. So time always, tells apart sometimes because coaches be there for a minute, but then sometimes players might get tired of you. Players might. It happens. It happens right now. You know what I'm saying? It's same
Hmm.
situations in the NFL. So but I think Mike Malone would be a big time home run if
I
the
agree.
Knicks get it. I think that'd be a big
Now,
time home run. And then I think a couple other moves they need to make. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, could they try to get Giannis? Yeah, but here's the other thing. I think whoever gets Giannis in the off season, and especially whatever the situation is going to become a huge favorite to win the title. If wherever he goes, whatever the situation, if it's a good one,
mhm,
that team is going to be a big time favorite going to win it all. Boston, I think Boston's window is starting to close. It's
mhm,
starting to close because the players are getting older, and then the injury with Tatum, it don't look good. Tatum might be out the whole next season to recover. Can Jalen Brown carry it? He's capable.
the rub
He's
the
capable.
Achilles.
But at the same time, you know what I'm saying? Can Jalen Brown carry it? Can the rest of the team? They're getting older. So I really think the window for Boston is closing. Cleveland, they had their shot. To me, despite the injury bug hit them at the wrong time. And I'm
It
going to give
did.
them that benefit of the doubt. But there were points they showed that they were frauds. There were points they showed they were frauds. Plain and simple, 2 20-point leads and you blow it,
Hmm.
especially you're up 25 against Indiana and you blow that game, you deserve to lose. No way. I'm sorry. The injury bug, I give Cleveland, but Cleveland showed that they were frauds. Next year, they better prove that they for real because Cleveland to me, they should have at least got to the conference finals instead of losing in round two.
68
So I'm
wins
just
in their
being
fraud.
honest, but it's gonna be interesting to see what
68
they're
wins?
fraud. You, you,
Wow.
you blow a 25-point lead at
One
home.
game. I get it.
You
Okay.
blow a 25 lead at home. Look,
Back.
you have to look. If anybody goes back and look at that game two, look at that game two
Mhm.
and how Cleveland dominated. They basically slapping Indiana around. And they let Indiana back up and beat them. When you see that, that just shows I think you're a fraud. Because I'm sorry, you gotta be better than this. There's no way in the world. But not just that, 2 straight games you blow double-digit leads in your first 2 games at home, and you got home court. Oh man, I'm like this. I think Cleveland will be back, but Cleveland gonna have to. They're gonna have to redeem themselves and fix whatever they fix. Cause that right there, I'm sorry, that was very, very fraudulent.
I
That
just
that's
I,
how I look at it.
I just think that the injury bug hit him at the absolute worst time and it
I
really put
agree.
him on the 8 ball in that series against Indiana. Now backtracking to New York, if you're right and they get Mike Malone, would it be hard as a Knicks fan to see if you could pry Nikola Jokic away from Denver and bring him to New York too? Package deal, baby.
Ooh,
That would be something. But Nikola's
that
happy in
would.
Denver. That would be incredible. Brunson, Jokic, Cat. Who beats the Knicks? Nobody. Nobody. If you put that three-headed monster out there, but that's wishful thinking. That's not going to happen. Nikola's going to be all right in Denver unless he sees Mike Malone in New York. He might start catching that big stage thinking. So, and he might be another Giannis. And
Right.
you mentioned where's Giannis going to go? I'm going to make a bold prediction right here, right now. San Antonio, get ready to welcome this man in. The new Millennial Twin Towers, Victor Wembanyama and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And the CEO, Jared JB Boyd, would be tickled pink if that happens. He would
Somebody's gonna
talk
be.
mad
Oh
stuff.
my God, he's gonna be the happiest person on earth if that happens. You know what I'm saying? I hope it don't, but I
Hmm.
wouldn't be surprised that happens because you have to think. You look at the San Antonio situation. San Antonio has the perfect freaking storm, especially in draft picks, in salary
Cap room.
cap room, and the cast as well. They have the perfect situation for Giannis, especially for a trade and a deal and stuff. If that happens, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised he goes to the San Antonio Spurs. If I'm the New Orleans Pelicans, Joe Dumars, you better throw your hat in the ring if you want to have the Pels become a contender in the West. Just being real. Try your best to throw your hat in the ring to get him. I'm gonna put the Pelicans in one of the teams, but hopefully they can get him. I don't know if they will, but just at least try. I will take an
Oh, yeah.
I will take an effort for you trying to get him. I will take an effort that you try to get him instead of just, oh, we're going to leave him alone. No, let's try to go for this.
Cut it out.
Exactly. So you look at
Hmm.
now before we close things out of the show, let's talk about the NBA Finals, which starts on tomorrow. That we have
Hmm.
the finals between the number one seed and the second best team in the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder, as they will take on the number 4 seed, the Indiana Pacers out of the Eastern Conference. The same Indiana Pacers team that let LeBron James get the putback in at the buzzer and bounce back and wind up getting into the finals for the first time in 25 years. Congratulations. But regardless of the fact, a lot of people's like, I don't know if this is not gonna be a great finals and stuff. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Guess what? We got 2 small market teams in the finals. Ha 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 ha. So enjoy that. Please watch everybody. And I hope to God. I think this series is gonna go to 7, but at the same time, I hope to God it is the highest rated finals in the history of the NBA. Please do it, America. Please do it for me. You do it for me, woo, I'll be a happy man. Do it for me. Do it for America. We're real people right here.
You
You know what
say
I'm
it's
saying? That's what it is.
you say it you say it's going 7. Who you picking?
Hmm. I'm like this, man. I think it's going to be a great series. I think Indiana has really proven themselves. The experience, you could say, it's really kicked in, especially from the year before. And I tell you, man, Pascal Siakam has been unbelievable. That
Oof.
championship experience has helped
Mm-hmm.
Indiana. And then on top of that, the you got Halliburton, who's just been Tyrese Halliburton has just been lights out. He has had a true coming out party in this playoffs, and he has said that I am here. So you better recognize. So I love what Indiana has done despite of, but I think Oklahoma City, their weapons that they have, this is going to be an interesting matchup. I tell you, man, it's going to be an all-out war between these two teams. I'm going to go with the young OKC Thunder, who has really built this roster and everything. And some people counting them out. All the haters were counting them out, huh? Writing them off, huh? Look at you now. Look at you now. You got egg all over your face. I said it in the middle of the season. It could be Cleveland and OKC in the finals. You didn't get Cleveland, but we got OKC. And OKC made some huge steps in the playoffs, huge steps, and finally got to the door. And now they're going to try and slam it down. It's not going to be easy, but I tell you, Shea Gildas Alexander. If I'll tell you one thing, if Williams has a good series, that could be huge for that because they still got other weapons on this team. And they have really, really, and Sam Presti, I mean, he done a lot of things for a reason, and you see why. So I tell you, man, and this is a young squad. Both teams are young. But at the same time, I like OKC to win this championship in 7 games. I really want this to go 7. I think this is an all-out war.
I personally think this series reminds me so much with the gaps in top end talent. I think this series reminds me of Nuggets Heat of a few years ago. The Nuggets lost game 1 and they crushed them after that. Oklahoma City, Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle in Indiana is an outstanding coach, Hall of Famer, no doubt. No doubt. This is his second time in an NBA final. He went with the Mavericks a couple of times when they won against Miami, the big three of LeBron, Bosh, and Wade, beat them like a drum in one series. This finals, though, Oklahoma City, the light came on in game 7 against the Nuggets. The best thing that could have happened was staring across the court at Jokic in a winner take all game, and the Thunder showed out. And look what they've done since. They dog walked Minnesota 4-1. The one game they lost, it looked like they took the night off. 144 to 113, 144 to whatever it was. They got beat bad in Minnesota, and they wound up handling business. This Thunder team, they have built, so you mentioned Sam Presti, the GM. They have built this team the right way, accumulating picks. Do you know this team has 11 draft picks over the next 3 years? 11. That's insane. You could replenish, you could restock if you lose guys. The one guy I'm looking for in this final, besides the obvious, Lou Dort, is a guy that can hit shots, a big that can hit shots. He's out there, and if he does that, I personally think when I look at the composition of both teams, Indiana has been great, and this is not bitter stuff for me as a Knicks fan because the Pacers put the Knicks out. It's not that. But when I look at this series, if it goes more than 5 games, I'll be surprised. Give me the Thunder in 5.
Mm, I heard that. I tell you one thing, man. I'm like this. Knicks fans, I feel you and everything. Great season and everything, but I ain't gonna lie, New York, you kind of overdid things, man. You know what I'm saying? Naming
Yeah,
streets and all that stuff, and all this overboardness, and the game 7 had. I'm not gonna say you deserve what you deserve, but you got to be humble sometimes. You got to wait. I'm
it's New
saying
York,
that.
VK. It's New York,
Okay,
man. Come on, there ain't no such thing as humble.
Well, of course, but at the same time, us Saints fans wasn't overdoing it when we finally won the championship. We waited. We waited a long time and finally got it
You
done.
did. Hmm.
So the Knicks should have did the same thing. You got one title. You ain't won in the 70s. It's just the fact, hey, let's wait on the other stuff first. Let's just get it through, there, get to the finals. When we win it all, let's go all out. Let's do all that. You know what I'm saying? Because hey, the Knicks ain't won since '79. The Mets ain't won since '86. Could be a great chance for them to get it done this year. So just saying, just hold your horses. You're getting there, Knicks fans, and I commend y'all because y'all really earned this year. But hopefully, you guys will have a chance to win it all soon. Special shout out going to Inside the NBA for their last broadcast on
Hmm.
Saturday as they move on to ESPN, saying some shots looking like WWE with with their promos. But regardless of the fact, man, Ernie Johnson doing it for years, and Shaq, Kenny Smith, and Charles Barkley, man, great, one of the great shows. And I hope ESPN does not do anything to screw it up when they come
Hmm.
in.
Just
I mean,
let them be them like they've been for years on TNT.
yep,
Don't screw
yep,
around and water it down. Don't add nobody. Don't subtract nobody. Let it be those four, because
yep.
that chemistry is unmatched. There is no
Steve
chemistry that touches them.
Stephen A. Smith, bye. Malika Andrews, bye. We're not gonna miss you. And Kendrick Perkins, bye too, because we're not gonna miss you either. We might still see
Especially
you
with them
on
suits.
person. So
Especially with
all
them
I
suits
know,
he wears.
he's the black broke preacher. That's what I call him. The black broke preacher.
He's
That's
silly.
what he is. And
Hmm.
and I don't like what he said about Anthony. Before we move on, not I didn't like what they said about Anthony Edwards about him not being the face of the league. I strongly disagree about that because he has a dog mentality in him. And to me, don't be surprised. Anthony Edwards might be one of the top candidates to win the MVP next year. Don't be surprised
He's
because
got
it's
he's got Kobe S talent, but he's got no maturation yet. He needs to be that killer.
oh he's
He's got Kobe talent, but he's not a killer.
he's gonna get there. He's gonna look like how Iverson won the MVP and how the critics got him fired up. Watch what I say next year.
Hmm.
If Andy Edwards works in the off season, mature himself a little bit and everything, I'm telling you, he's gonna look like Iverson when he won the MVP. All that criticism, all that stuff he took. Okay, I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. So
Hmm.
we'll see what happens with that. So that's it for the Hash It Out show. One special announcement before we go. We are getting everything together for year number 3 of the Hash It Out Show Game of the Week. And it's going to be a special year number 3 of the Hash It Out Show Game of the Week because we're not just going to be doing the best prep football in the state of Louisiana. We're also going to be doing prep basketball this year as well on the Hash It Out Show Game of the Week. So this is a huge undertaking we're going to be doing and everything. So all the people and fans out there that are watching, and Jared, I hope you can take the clip and put it on social media, all social medias for us if you can for us. We're going to need your help. All people who have businesses or people who watch the show that knows people with businesses or you have your own business, we have sponsorship packages. We have sponsorship packages starting at $150, but we got 5 different packages this year, particularly for not just prep football, but also prep football and basketball. So you have options to be a part of what we're doing this year. So we're gonna be posting everything with the price list and all that stuff. I'm gonna put it on social media. If not tonight, it will be first thing tomorrow morning. I will post it on all social media platforms. So anybody got businesses or know somebody with businesses, pass that information on, and we'll give you the information to hit us up on our inboxes
Hmm.
and just talk to us and let us know if you're interested. We would love for you to be a part of the Hash It Out Show Game of the Week and all this stuff that we're offering you. we're gonna also have that offered on our podcast, our current podcast right here. So it's a big package, but we really love your support. We're gonna support your business as well. We're supporting one another, but we're gonna really need your help because of what we're about to undertake is gonna be huge. We already made some huge steps last season with video streaming on both football, and we couldn't believe the response we had for basketball. So that's why things are really growing. So we're gonna need everybody's help. So if anybody got businesses or know somebody with businesses, tell them about the Hash It Out Show Game of the Week. We have sponsorship packages starting at $150. I will post everything. If not tonight, by tomorrow morning, we will post both both pieces of literature with the package deals, the package prices. And if you're interested, join us for this season. We definitely need your help, and we thank you for supporting the Hash It Out Show.
Now, to piggyback, I do need one thing from you. If you post it tomorrow morning, tag me in it because I'm not going to be, I'll be
Of
at work
course,
tomorrow, but tag me in it, and that way
of
I'll put a
course.
little script together when I share it on my socials. And for those of you out there, we're going to need you. I mean, we've gotten good responses for the last 2 years with sponsors, but we're going bigger and better this year. We are up in our game this year in every facet. We are talking about doing basketball more regularly, much more regularly. Football, obviously, we go to the semifinals, all the way to the semis. Can't do the Superdome because of a contractual thing with the LHSCA and the ticket, because the ticket has dibs on that, and we partake with the group at the ticket with Ken Trahan and that group, and we do it every year, and we'll look forward to doing it again this year. 3 great days of football, well, 2 great days of football, and whatnot. But it's funny we're talking about it in June, and you mentioned football. We haven't even talked about the UFL, and I'm just kidding when I say that. I'm just joking when I say that. No disrespect intended, but y'all support us because our show, the podcast, has really made tremendous strides. The games with the video streaming, especially last year, the networking, people randomly where I work come up to me and they know that I do the podcast, but and I put it out there about the video streaming and all that. It's like, man, we're actually can watch the games now. The accessibility is incredible, and of course the quality. I can speak to that of what we do. Because we bust our ass every time. We are a hard working group.
Absolutely. We are a very hard working group, and we got some potential great matchups. We
Yep.
nailed down two already that we will announce later on in a couple of months and everything, but we're starting to try to get some games lined up and everything else, and the potential opportunities that we
Hmm.
have coming up this year in the prep football side. If we can get some of these opportunities down pat, that is going to be huge for us. We're going to be probably not just in the New Orleans area, we might be hitting the road a lot this year in general.
Hmm.
So, and then on top of that, we're doing not one but two games on the prep football side this year per week. Probably basketball as well. Depends on the schedules. We might do two a week in basketball. We're talking two in basketball, but definitely we're doing 2 a week in football. So stay tuned. We got
Hmm.
a lot brewing, but we need your support because there's a lot we're doing, and we need your support. As long as you support us, we're gonna support you. So that's it for the Hash It Out show. We definitely appreciate you joining us tonight. We'd like to thank Brad Neffendorf of the LSU Shreveport Pilots for coming on the show tonight. Uh, and also, big shout out to Jared JB Boyd and also for Miss Agnes Boyd. Happy birthday to you. Hope you're enjoying it and everything. Final words, George Peppers.
Well, the one thing we didn't talk about, and I'm going to partake in this weekend, is the third leg of the Triple Crown, the Belmont Stakes. That's on Saturday. It's part of a 5-day racing festival at Saratoga. It is run there again this year because Belmont is still under reconstruction. They'll be back there next year, 2026. You could look for me on the ticket this weekend with Ken Trahan and Ro Brown to talk Belmont Stakes on Saturday. I can't get my Twitter account to work right. It's acting a fool. Sometimes it just if I can get that thing going, I'll live tweet pics and everything, and I'll be sure to. The field is composed of 8 horses, and It looks top heavy. Again, this is a good. It doesn't look to be a big payoff, but it's become one of the best weekends in sports because they've got 25 stakes races over 5 days. Crazy number. So a lot of great racing. You got the Oaks champion running Friday, the Derby winner and the Preakness winner running against each other on Saturday. Theater. It's gonna be great stuff, and I'll be diving into that this weekend. I'm off this weekend, so I get to partake in all the festivities. But it was a great show tonight, VK. Had a great time as always. JB, give your mom a lot of love from us. Wish her a happy birthday, and may the good Lord bless her with many, 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 many more. And we will obviously reconvene at some point next week with more guests and the announcements about games. You know what? You, me, and JB, we're going to have to get together at some point soon and start hashing it out and talk about some games that we're going to look at for this year. And you mentioned 2 games a week. It isn't just New Orleans. It isn't just the West Bank. It isn't just the East Bank. We're looking to move all over. We went to Westgate a couple of years ago. We might be doing some of that stuff. We could potentially be doing games in that area again. Who knows? Again, if the matchup is appealing, which there will be a lot of appealing matchups, we're gonna be there. We're gonna be there. And on that note, VK, whatever you do this weekend, brother, be safe. JB, you too as well. I know you've done a great job with us, but be careful whatever you do this weekend. Great show. We'll do this again next week, VK.
Very much agree. Very much agree. It's going to be an interesting weekend. Probably the best Saturday we're going to have in a minute
Mm-hmm.
with the Belmont Stakes. You
That was
got
you.
you got LSU with the Super Regional. Game 2 of the finals, I think, is Saturday night as
Yeah,
well.
I think so.
And then also, if you're a wrestling fan, you got a
Oh
double-headed
Lord,
date.
you just
You got a
was
double-headed
coming.
date. You got a double-headed
Money
date.
in the Bank.
You got Money in the Bank Saturday night, early Saturday. You have Worlds Collide. That's the pay-per-view that's gonna have the
DNA.
new that's gonna have AAA. That's a Lucha Libre Wrestle Federation who's just joined with the WWE. So there's gonna be matches featuring the AAA guys against the WWE guys, and some titles are on the line. So it's gonna be an interesting look at on Saturday afternoon. And what's funny, it's in LA. They're doing one event. The Worlds Collide is at the Forum, at the old Forum that's got redone and everything.
Oh wow.
And not too far from
Okay.
the Forum is the Intuit Dome. That's where Money in the Bank is. So people is gonna have an interesting afternoon out there in LA more than anything else, right around the corner. So, but we thank you so much for joining us for the Hash It Out Show. We are on summer hours, ladies and gentlemen, all on summer hours. This month only, we're on Wednesday nights. This month only, we're on Wednesday nights. July will be back to getting back to Tuesday and Wednesdays. And we got an interesting guest next week. We'll make that announcement to you next week. We are working on a very interesting guest to join us on next Wednesday night. So for Jared JB Boyd, George Peppers, I'm VK Jones. This has been the Hash It Out Show. We will see you next week.